Hello everybody, this is Mr. Rob and welcome back to another episode of the South Carolina Gamecocks Dynasty here on EA Sports College Football 25, where the South Carolina Gamecocks have reached their second bye week of the season. So today we're going to kind of take a look at recruiting for a little bit, as well as preview the upcoming game and see where our Gamecocks currently stand. So if you're excited for this one, make sure you drop a like and subscribe down below, especially if you want more Dynasty mode content. Now, this is our second bye of the season, and usually what I did in the last year's second bye week, I kind of took a look around the league, took a look at some of the league leaders, stats, stuff like that. But our second bye week comes so late this year that if I went over season stats and stuff now, we might play 1 game, 2 games max after this, so the stats and stuff really won't change. So I think I'll just save that for the year-end recap episode. So today we'll go through recruiting. We'll go through the conference standings. I feel like that's something important to take a look at. Maybe take a look at our bowl projections at the end and just kind of then simulate the week and just go on about business. So it'll probably be a little shorter episode, but let's get into it. Currently, our Gamecocks sit 6-5 on the season. If you take a look at our schedule, it's been up and down. I mean, we've lost to Virginia Tech, bounced back, beat South Carolina State, beat Coastal, lost 3 of our next 4 against ranked teams at the time, beat Vanderbilt. But we are coming off of a big win where we beat Oklahoma at home 42-14. And in 2 weeks, we'll face our rivals in Clemson, who absolutely slaughtered us last year. So we're looking to get that back. But we'll take a look at conference standings real quick first to see what the rest of the country is looking like. Starting off in the ACC, our Clemson Tiger rivals are actually leading the conference. They're 6-1 out there. They're pushing for a college football playoff championship berth, but they got some competition. Cal has looked really good in the ACC. They're second year in the conference. They're ranked 6th. They're 5-1, won 5 straight. NC State was the number 1 team in the land until last week, where they lost to Wake Forest, so they now have a conference loss, but they're still threatening. Virginia has now entered the top 25. They're 4-2, followed by Florida State, Pittsburgh, and a slew of other teams. In the American Conference, it is UAB leading the way. They've been the standard of this conference for the past 2 seasons, made the playoff last year, and they look to do the same here unless something happens down the stretch. They sit 10-1, 7-0 in the conference, 8th ranked. The only team that's threatening them that they could play in the conference championship game is probably UTSA. They're 7-3, 5-2 in the conference. Go to the Big 12. It's been a hot mess of a conference, almost so much that they might cost themselves a playoff position, because it's the top 5 conference champions in the Big 12. A lot of people, a lot of insiders and people on the committee think that they might not even be a top 5 conference this year. But leading the way right now is the UCF Knights. They're 9-2, 6-2 in the conference. West Virginia was up there for a while. They've fallen. They're 6-2 as well, though, at 7-4. Iowa State's there as well, 7-3 and 5-2. Kansas State, the highest ranked team, they're also 5-2. They're 8-2 record-wise. And you also have Utah, who's 5-3, ranked 25. Houston's also threatening there. They're under 500, though. Arizona 7-3 and 4-3, and so is Cincinnati. And you have Texas Tech, who's also in the rankings down there. So this has just been a hot mess of a conference this season. Big Ten has been very top-heavy so far. But leading the way currently is the Trojans of USC. They're ranked 10th. They're 7-1 in the conference, 9-2 overall. But there's a lot of 6-1 teams, which something's got to change. Number 2, Michigan is 6-1. Number 4, Ohio State is 6-1. Number 5, Oregon is 6-1. And then lastly, number 1, Penn State is 6-1. So a lot of top teams here in the Big Ten. I mean, 4 of your top 5 teams in the land come from this conference. So it's very, very rich at the top. It's still anybody's conference to win. I'm not even going to predict who's going to be in the championship game, because we still got Michigan, Ohio State. We still got a lot of other big-time matchups here. There's also Nebraska hanging around there, 5-2 and 7-3. Conference USA, the leader right now is Western Kentucky. They're only 500, but they're 5-2 within the conference. 4-2 Jacksonville State. The other Gamecocks are there as well. Sam Houston State also there at 6-4 and 4-2, and so is Middle Tennessee State. They're honestly probably my favorite team in the Conference USA. I think they're the best of the bunch. Good to the independents. I mean, we only got 2 independents left. UConn's 5-6. Notre Dame's 5-5. It's been a bad year for the Irish. In the MAC, leading the way is Miami University, the Red Hawks. They're 5-1. They knocked off Toledo, which was my favorite to win the conference. They still could be, but they're currently behind Miami University. A couple 4-2 teams. Ball State is there, Bowling Green as well. Western Michigan and Ohio has the big win over Ohio State this year to their resume. And then you got Buffalo as well. UMass's first season back in the MAC. They are 6-6 and 4-4. Mountain West Conference, Fresno State leads the way despite their loss to Boise State this past week. They're 5-1. Then we got a lot of 4-2 teams. UNLV up there. Hawaii has made their name in the race. They have a victory over Boise State, actually. Boise State was my favorite to win this conference, and they still might. They're ranked 21st, so they're getting a lot of respect. But it hasn't been easy for them. Nevada also up there at 6-4 and 4-2, also own a win over Boise State. The Pac-2, it's Oregon State who's 5-6. Washington State is 7-4 as they get ready to play each other for essentially the conference championship. In our conference, Texas leads the way. They're undefeated in SEC play. They are 7th in the land. Texas A&M, though, 5-1, could be a threat. They're number 3 team in the nation. Also, a lot of 2-loss teams. Georgia at 6-2 in the conference that are up there. Same with Kentucky and Alabama. So this is still a gauntlet for that final spot. I think Texas will be in the championship game. I don't know who they'll face. Florida is also there. They're 4-3. Tennessee, thankfully we didn't play either of those teams this year. We're right smack dab in the middle. We finished 4-4 in SEC play. Oklahoma is dead even across the board. Then the losing records, LSU, who does own a victory over us, Auburn, Arkansas, Missouri, Mississippi State, Vanderbilt, and then dead last without winning a conference game so far is Ole Miss. In the Sun Belts, they actually still do it by divisions. Currently, it's Old Dominion who's the best team in this conference. They're ranked at 23. They're undefeated. And then on the west side, it's more of a gauntlet. Louisiana Monroe is 4-2, so is Texas State and Southern Miss. So that does it for the conference standings. We'll take a look at recruiting now because it has not been a good year for us recruiting. We started off strong, but we've only got 4 commits on the radar. Now, our big commit this year, we did get the 5-star from Florence, South Carolina, Colby Boyette, who will probably play the linebacker. That's a big deal for us. Ari Big Hill from Somerville is going to be a good left tackle. Kevin Fine also helps with the interior at right guard from Charlotte, North Carolina. And then another weapon outside in Verdon Ryder. So we've gotten 4 good players, but that's it. We've only gotten 4 good players, and there's a lot of people on the board this year that don't really have interest in coming here. I thought that was a scare at the beginning of the season. I thought we were maybe top heavy on a lot of top names, and it might be hard to find some guys down the board, and that's kind of come to fruition because we're also missing out on some other guys. Carl Good, a halfback that we liked from Alabama, he's committed to Tulane, so he's now off the board. Ty Traylor, a guy I thought we'd get for a while, has gone to Florida, so that hurts as well. Another guy we will not get. And then I think that's all. So we only have 15 guys left that we're targeting on our board. This might be a very transfer-heavy recruiting class. But the top guy currently that I'm going after is John Harjulan from West High School in Knoxville, Tennessee. This is currently the battle for him. We are passing Jacksonville State for the lead, which the fact we got to pass Jacksonville State is kind of unfortunate. But we're still trying to get him in here. Wade McMahon right behind him, the athlete from Fayetteville, North Carolina. We've taken a lead on him. So we got a couple guys we're in the lead for. We just need to kind of close some of these battles. Ricky General is a guy who's locked us out, but has reopened us back up thanks to a couple of wins. We were more in the running for him, but those lockouts kind of hurt us. He's now favoring Kentucky in the race. We fall to 4th. Melvin Silver, a wide receiver that I like, more of a physical body guy at 6'5" from Georgia. Still an uphill battle for him. He's currently got Virginia Tech, followed by Clemson. Another wide receiver, Jamerson Felix, though. This is a guy we might get 6'2", 203, maybe a light version of Silver. He's currently heavily favoring us. So is athlete LaShawn Ivy from Greenville. He's a 3-star athlete who probably played quarterback. He looks like he might be coming here. Same thing with Alfonso Bird as we start to add more points into these later guys. A 3-star from Brentwood, Tennessee. Is favoring us as well. James Eskridge from Douglasville, Georgia, currently has us favored. Chauncey Parker, this one's we're trying to get into late. Old Dominion had a lead, but 3-star safety from Vero Beach, Florida, I thought would be a good addition. We have Demarius Shaughnessy from Shelby, North Carolina. We're trying to get into this, but it might be a little too late. Seems like he likes NC State. How about a JUCO wide receiver right here from Columbia? Try to keep it in city. Larry Brown is technically not a steal. We're trying to fight back from Syracuse with him. I thought maybe another kicker would be good. Marquise Atogwe from Hilton Head Island in South Carolina, currently in the lead for him. DeAndre Stitzer is a quarterback, had some interest with us, so I'm putting some preliminary stuff out there, trying to get in the battle with Middle Tennessee State. Jaron Lehan currently favors us, a 3-star blocking tight end right here, another JUCO guy, so teammates with Larry Brown might want to come here. And then Cameron Wiley, another athlete who currently is favoring Alabama over us, as well as LSU. Again, just trying to bite a little bit for some of these guys, but that's really it for us. Currently, we are, and this is bad to say, dead last in the SEC. We have 4 commits. We are way far behind if we want to make another top 11 recruiting class like we did last season. But that's what it looks like. There's not much to share because we're not going after many people. So we'll go ahead and simulate the week, get into the second half of this episode, where we'll take a look and get ready like normal for the next matchup. Finally get some good news on the recruiting front as we sim the week. 3-star wide receiver Jamerson Felix from Hollywood, Florida, attending MacArthur High School, has committed to the team. So a 3-star recruit, but hey, we go into Florida and get a talent. He's a good physical body wide receiver from the state of Florida. Something we don't really have, I would say, other than maybe Ayo Maynor. 6'2", 203. You know, he's a good catching guy. He's not going to win you over too much with his speed, but I mean, he's got pretty solid catching ability. Excited to join the team. We lose out on a Cameron Wiley. He goes to Alabama. We didn't really have much of a chance for him. As we take a look at the action that happened in Week 13, of course, the big game this week, Ohio State, Michigan. We'll also see Texas A&M versus Texas in the SEC. A lot of good matchups in this coming week. And then Iowa State and Kansas State will also meet in the Big 12. Here are your scores. North Carolina wins a shootout against Virginia as the UNC just seems to be all offense and no defense. Minnesota gets their second win of the season over Michigan State. Tulane with a victory over Navy. And we see Arizona in rankings again. They knock off Cincinnati. Fresno State bounces back with a victory over Air Force, holding strong in the Mountain West. Wake Forest drops one at home to SMU. They continue to have a shaky season. Notre Dame goes into Pitt and wins 31-27 in their rivalry matchup. Georgia will bounce back with a win over Charlotte, and what was a closer game than most people would have thought. LSU back in the win column against Western Kentucky. Clemson will be riding a hot streak as they face us, knocking off Georgia Tech. North Texas knocks off Memphis. Arkansas State over South Alabama. Virginia Tech with a nice win over Miami. They try to keep their playoff hopes alive. Michigan, before their showdown with Ohio State, knocks off Nebraska. Ball State over Akron, and then OSU took care of business against Purdue, as those 2 top 5 teams will go head-to-head next week in Michigan, Ohio State. Toledo gets a win over Western Michigan. Colorado State over New Mexico. Hawaii in the Mountain West also gets a victory over San Jose State, trying to keep their championship chances alive. Oregon over Washington. The Ducks have a big game this week as well. Boise State over Nevada. I know I said Boise State had beat Nevada or lost to Nevada already. I apologize, I misspoke there. Arkansas over Ole Miss in the SEC. New Mexico State over FIU in the Conference USA. Texas State, they rejoined their rankings with a victory over Southern Miss. I think that's kind of gracious. Cal's up to 6 with a victory over Stanford. And then we see Boston College beat Louisville on the road. Also in the ACC, Syracuse over Duke. Utah State will beat UNLV, and then NC State with a nice bounce back win over Florida State in a close one, as Wolfpack now back up to 7. TCU over UTSA. Iowa State over BYU in a close one as they get ready for Kansas State. UCF knocks off Kansas. They're still the team to beat in the Big 12. Baylor over Arizona State. Oklahoma with a victory over Auburn. Kentucky knocks off Florida, knocks the Gators out of the rankings, and the Wildcats up to 12 trying to get a wild card berth. Old Dominion will fall out of the rankings. They get beat by Louisiana, so that does it for the Monarchs in the top 25. Marshall over Louisiana Monroe. Kansas State blanks Oklahoma State. This has not been a good season for the Cowboys. Texas Tech with a victory over Utah on the road. Big win for the Red Raiders. We see Buffalo blank Central Michigan out there in the MAC, and then Miami University knocks off Bowling Green. Texas with a close one over Vandy, 17-10. Penn State, the number 1 team in the land, over Northwestern, 23-10. Bama with a victory over Missouri. They climb up down to number 19. Illinois doubles up Indiana in the Big Ten. Also in that same conference, UCLA in a low-scoring battle against Maryland. Sam Houston over Liberty on the road. Also in the Conference USA, the AAC, East Carolina will knock off FAU. Colorado over Houston. Texas A&M up 2-3, getting ready for their clash against the Longhorns. They knock off Mississippi State. USF over Rice, and then finally Jacksonville State knocks off Middle Tennessee State. Here are your players of the week. Both national players came from the same game, ironically enough. Kelly, a defender, had 4 interceptions, but a receiver from the Spartans had 13 for 202 and 3 scores. Very interesting tale of two sides of the football field. In the SEC, it was Jair Brown with a pick 6 for LSU and Jaden Gibson for Oklahoma with a big game. Here are your rankings this week. Not a lot of change. A lot of the top teams did win. The top 9 all stay the same, just a little bit up and down movement. A lot of big games, though, in the top 25 this next week. Rivalry week is going to shake this standings up, as we also have 5 new teams in it. As we'll take a look at the brackets currently, obviously subject to the change of all the big matchups. You can see the top 4 there. They have Clemson in a first round bye. They are definitely in the ACC hunt, but a lot of these teams will play each other. As we'll take a look at 4 of the top games, specifically the Big Ten. We talked about Ohio State, Michigan. How about Penn State number 1 versus number 4 Oregon? Just 2 monumental clashes in the Big Ten. And then Texas versus Texas A&M, 2 top 10s in the SEC. Then we'll see Iowa State and Kansas State with big Big 12 implications. It's a big week for college football next week. That's not even talking about our game. We'll play host to number 14, our division or our state rivals, the Clemson Tigers in the Palmetto Series. If you remember last year, Clemson just embarrassed us at their home turf. We're looking for revenge. We sit 6-5. We would love to knock the Tigers potentially out of the playoff with some revenge at Williams-Brice. It's going to be a good one. We're going to come out swinging. We're playing pretty good football. Clemson's playing pretty good football. This should be a very high-profile clash. Hope you guys are excited for this one. If you are, make sure you drop a like and you subscribe down below, especially if you want more Dynasty Mode content. This is Mr. Rob, and I'll see you in the next one.